In this course, you will learn to grow your network with people that you already know, start conversations with industry thought leaders, and network your way without that pit in your stomach. I work with a lot of job seekers, and you know what's one common activity I find them all doing? Clicking online applications all day long, just submitting applications to those postings, right? Consider your own self for a moment. When you think of an audit of your job search activities, how much time are you spending on the couch versus off the couch? Have you ever applied to more than one job at the same company using the same resume without a cover letter? How about applying to a position at a company that you know nothing about? Applying to a position you weren't even really interested in? Right? And the real question is, have you ever gotten a job doing any of those three things? Probably not. The age of technology has blown up the old school job market. As an example, for Starbucks alone, they reported receiving 7.6 million applications for 65,000 jobs in a single year in 2018. Right? The pool of candidates coming forward is drastically larger than the actual job search pieces that we need out there. So simply blindly throwing out a net into the ocean and hoping you're going to sit back and pull in a 5-star lobster is just not an effective job search. Instead, we need to get a handle on networking, on building and maintaining mutually beneficial relationships. The question I often get, do I have to? Right? Yes, networking is absolutely proven to be the most successful way to find your next job. The people you know can be the best way to introduce you to key decision makers that can help bring you forward. It's the tried and true path of networking, still continuing to be the most successful way to receive a job placement in the marketplace. Consistently, we see that research is showing between 40 to 80% of these placements are being attributed to networking. And job seekers have found that 4 in 10 of them can state their best or favorite jobs have been found through these personal connections. It happens all the time. Someone in your network says, hey, you know what? I know that John Jones is hiring at ABC Company. I'll give a call for you or pass your resume along. Right? So consider that when we really focus in on understanding who's in our network and how they may be able to put us in touch with some opportunities, people, organizations that we're interested in, this is the best and fastest way to pursue our job search. So the first point is that I encourage you to expand your reach, right? We always know more people than we think that we do. So consider for a moment that having a strong baseline network that you might have on LinkedIn, for example, is to assess what type of connections you already have that may just not be embedded within your existing network. You haven't already connected to them. We think about personal connections, friends, relatives, neighbors, business connections, vendors, coworkers, conference attendees. Third-party connections, your lawyer, your attorney. Are you connected to your dentist on LinkedIn? I've been seeing the same dentist for over 30 years. I'd like to believe that if I send him a connection request, he's going to jump on in there, right? Educational components like our teacher, classmates, any alumni maybe that we've spent time with. And consider also a community component. Do you have individuals within associations, club memberships, even your fellow churchgoers that you have talked to or have corresponded with on a regular basis, but never thought to actually reach out and connect with officially on LinkedIn to bring them into your professional network? Oftentimes, the concern I hear from people about bringing them into their professional network is, well, I don't want to just ask these type of people I know in my everyday personal life for help. Well, that's where you're wrong. Networking is not about asking other people for help. The heart of networking, of creating these mutually beneficial relationships, is to ensure that you are bringing value to each and every encounter. Right? And there are many ways that we can bring value to conversation as we're reaching out to one person or another. Sometimes that's by sharing an article that may be of interest to that human being based on a conversation you've already had. You could certainly give them accolades or attention for any particular award maybe they've recently received, or we often receive those updates on LinkedIn letting us know that someone is celebrating a work anniversary or just received a promotion. bringing attention to their personal brand. I have a story several years ago around how I was following a particular author that I was really in love with. It was a best-selling author on Twitter, and I took the time when I received that individual's book in the mail to snap a quick shot of it and post a tweet out there. And wouldn't you know it, a member of his or her team within hours actually thanked me for putting that out there. Now, maybe that wasn't an actual post from the actual author, but that's certainly as close to that individual as I've ever gotten so far. So consider doing this in small ways by liking or commenting or promoting a post that someone puts out there on LinkedIn, or speaking to your own experience by giving them a recommendation or referral or endorsement. Helps to continue to spread some good to goodwill, and it definitely helps to bring value to individuals that you're interacting with. You may also share your own admiration. When I'm reaching out to a potential role model or someone who is farther along in the industry than I am, that I'm hoping to just kind of learn from and have act as a mentor, I will often do a bit of research about their own professional history and share with them how much I admire the success they've had and how much I'd like to learn from him or her. And that's often very endearing and genuine for people, and it gives them a reason to kind of open up and want to have a discussion. So keep in mind that your networking value is not only about your ability to connect them to other people. It may very well be at some point, but up front, the best value you might bring is just your own attention and being generally interested in what they have to say. We also consider that there are many avenues that you want to conduct and cultivate conversations, right? The objective is to always try to get closer to an in-person conversation or connection. So while we connect with a lot of individuals online, be it through LinkedIn groups, maybe blogs that we're writing, connecting, or commenting on, online forums, that's a great way to start a conversation. Your goal is to always kind of move that discussion to more of an informal conversation, informational interview, seeing them face-to-face, meeting at an association meeting or maybe a conference. I appreciate that in certain spaces and time. In person is difficult these days. Don't forget the value of a remote cup of coffee. Just making a face-to-face video connection can be much more compelling than just communicating with someone with a simple message, a text message, or an online in-mail where you can't see the person's face. And ideally, as you would imagine, just like in our personal lives, the more we have a combination of a variety of different avenues and ways in which we connect with someone and topics around which we connect, the stronger that relationship becomes. So consider some of those pieces. When you're thinking about your overall network strategy, don't wait until you need someone or something to build that network. It's a good idea for any professional to get out there and make sure that they are expanding their network and frequently reaching out to key individuals who may be in a similar industry. Again, folks who are in touch with key decision makers at different organizations you'd like to learn more about, and make sure that you're just cultivating, bringing that value ongoing well before you need something, so that by the time you kind of come to a place where you'd like to ask for a favor, you've already given so much that it's definitely your turn to get. When you ask for help, please be specific from individuals. If I want to understand the right credential I might want to receive next in order to launch my business in the next direction, I want to be very specific when I'm making that ask. I would love 5 minutes of your time to learn more about what type of credentials you would recommend for someone in our industry. Or if I'm out there just trying to learn about a different industry, perhaps I'd like to step into training and development. I might reach out to someone and let them know that I'm interested in learning their story of success in the training and development field. Be very specific about the request you're asking for, rather than simply approaching someone saying, I'm looking for overall advice about my job search. Be sure that when you do get a meeting, whether via telephone, video, or in person, that you're well prepared. You've done your research, you know who you're going to be talking to, and you have some really intellectually curious questions to be posing. Make sure you're following up on every single conversation, follow up on the advice that they have offered. If they connect you to another individual, make sure that you follow up properly with that person so as to not have wasted their time. And as I mentioned a few moments ago, relationships are about give and get. Make sure you have always given more than enough before you ask for something in return. Thank you so much for joining us. Visit our blog to access our entire learning library and more free downloads.